Yeah, but Johnny Rotten, he's an Arsenal supporter. What does he know about anything? Look, I've got to be honest. I think the last rightful monarch was James II. But hey, God save the Queen. It's a wonderful institution. But who will the monarch be? You know, a new official report wants women to be given a higher pecking order and royals allowed to be married Catholics. Good Lord! I think it should be same-sex marriages to Catholics, but, you know, I'm just a terrible liberal. Now, Matthew Rowe is from the Canadian Monarchist League. He joins me now in Ottawa. Welcome to you, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me, Michael.
Royals marrying Catholics, women in direct line to the throne. This is appalling.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I mean, this is just another effort on the part of the institution that has evolved over the last 1,000 years. I mean, some of these rules were brought into place 300 years ago. Some of them made sense at the time. They were addressing political problems at the time, but they don't make sense in the modern world. So the League is happy to see that changes are afoot.
Well, you say they don't make sense in the modern world, but of course the monarch is head of the Church of England. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm Catholic, I was joking, but if you have someone marrying a Catholic who may then be in line to the throne, you could have the head of the Church of England married to someone who believes in papal supremacy. It's just illogical.
Well, the problem with the Act of Settlement is that it just singles out Catholics. No other religion is affected. Yeah. So if someone in the line of succession was to marry a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Shinto, there would be no legal problem. So singling out one specific group is not appropriate, again, in the modern age, especially from a Canadian context. I mean, the religious role may be an issue in Britain, where the Queen has a formal religious role, but in Canada she has no religious role, nor does she in any other Commonwealth country. So from a Canadian perspective, we're happy to see the change. Of course, we are one of the only Commonwealth countries with a majority Catholic population. So we're happy to see the change. Of course, the gender question is a no-brainer and has been adopted by many other modern monarchies, such as Sweden.
Yeah, of course, the Swedish monarchy is thriving, and we all know who the monarch of Sweden is.
King Carl Gustaf, of course.
Yeah, well, I knew you would know. Yeah. Yes, we are sort of majority Catholic, but not majority serious Catholic. But I mean, I don't want to dwell on that, but I do understand the reason why. As I say, the Queen is head of the Church of England, and you could actually, well, the monarch is the head of the Church of England, and if a monarch was married to a Catholic, the monarch died, you could have, anyway, we can go through that. Let's talk about, I do think the monarchy is stabilising. I do believe that this Queen has been a magnificent role model, actually. Not always that convinced by it by her children, but when I consider the alternatives, I'm for it. But I'm from Britain originally. I'm 52. What about people who are in their 20s, who were born in this country? Do you honestly believe there is a great last desire for a future monarchy?
Oh, I think so. I think we saw this with the visit of William and Kate this past year. Just the overwhelming outpouring of support of people of all ages, all backgrounds. You know, the monarchy is an institution that has a drawing power unlike any other in this country. It's able to ignite the imagination like no politician or no celebrity in this country can. It's part of who we are. And what we saw with this recent visit was that it is the younger generation that is embracing. I mean, I'm 30 years old, so I don't know if that still counts as young, but I belong to the Ottawa branch, and in the past year, we've had 6 members under the age of 30 join our executive, as well as more join the larger membership. So I think young Canadians are identifying with this younger generation of royals. You know, this is Monarchy 2.0, and they're finding it pretty exciting.
Well, we saw the King's speech. It was a wonderful movie, but part of the appeal was, I think, the enormous vulnerability of a man of greatness, the King, and many people identified with that, whether they were from the Anglo-Celtic tradition or not. So the monarchy does have this wonderful ability to reinvent itself. It has done this now. It's not recent. Elizabeth I reinvented monarchy after the weaker times of Mary Tudor and the ambivalent times of Edward and the draconian times of Henry. Victoria, there was a strong Republican movement. That changed in the end of her reign, and then Edward VII. And Kate Middleton, who, by the way, has made my 18-year-old son a monarchist. He's saying things like, wow, and who's she, and oh. So I think that does make him a monarchist. But look, Britain and Canada, it's different. In the UK, it does have a long-term future. Even nationalists in Scotland and Wales will say we still want the monarchy. But we're 3,000 miles away from where the monarch lives. Does it make it seem anachronistic? Is it patronising to have a head of state who lives so far away?
Not at all. I mean, the world, if anything, is becoming more globalized. Our links with other countries are even more important. And the fact that we share a monarch, Canada doesn't have a lot in common with places like Papua New Guinea or Barbados, but we share a queen. And there's something very valuable in that. And in a world that's growing increasingly smaller, these are linkages that should be treasured and nurtured rather than cast aside. I think it makes us stronger as a country. I mean, my grandparents emigrated to this country from Jamaica. And again, despite all the changes between those two countries, they were able to keep the same queen. And there's tremendous comfort and continuity in that. And you see this even with immigrants who do not come from Commonwealth countries or come from monarchical backgrounds, that there's a tremendous affection to this institution because it is a human institution. And, it puts a human face on the otherwise gray, boring, complex face of government. So I think that there is tremendous value. Most of all, it's tremendously cheap. Canadians, by having our monarch abroad, it actually costs us very little. It's about a Tim Hortons coffee each for the entire institution of monarchy in Canada. So I think we get a pretty good value for money.
So that's a great argument. Hey, it's cheap. Now, I do tend to agree with you. And whenever people say no to the monarchy, they just have to consider the alternative. And I could just imagine those sort of CBC watching Globe and Mail reading silly snobs who have a pretending English accent and think Adrian Clarkson is divine, having even more power than they have now. And that's too much to contemplate. So that was terrific. A great defense. Thank you so very much indeed.
Anytime, Michael. Always happy to chat.